Israeli Defense Force, including the ground forces, Air Force, Navy, logistics, intelligence, technology, and more. Well, this is a massive drill that took a month that is including every branch of the military. It's bringing them all together, helping them to communicate so they can bomb Iran and so they can protect their nation afterwards. Because, in my opinion, this is the hook that once Israel bombs Iran, it provokes Russia. Russia's already provoked, but it provokes Russia, Turkey, Iran, Syria, all these nations, and this could be the fulfillment of that. I mean, by the way, and so let me just read you these other articles and I'll talk about it. This is from Yahoo News, June the 2nd, this year. This could be the next big war that grips the entire world. Now look at that title there. The ongoing war between Israel and Iran across the Middle East came out of the shadows and into the open long ago, but now, on the back of several suspected Israeli attacks inside Iran itself, the deadly contest threatens to escalate, possibly beyond the region. Last week, several quadcopter drones smashed into a suspected Iranian nuclear research and drone facility at Parchin, killing one engineer. Mere days before, two assassins on motorbikes shot dead an Iranian military colonel in the heart of Tehran. In February, several drones hit an Iranian unmanned aerial vehicle, UAV, base in the west of the country at Kermanshah. Although never officially taking responsibility, various subtle hints by Israeli officials and media reports have left little doubt as to the provenance of these attacks. Now listen to the rest of this article, because this is very important. This is all part of what the Israeli government, just under a year in power, has come to describe as the Octopus Doctrine, a new and risky expansion of its campaign against Iran's military and nuclear capability, the Octopus Doctrine. If in years past Israel did hit inside Iran, it was done covertly, usually through spies and cyber attacks, and almost always targeted Iranian nuclear scientists and facilities. For almost a decade, too, Israel made no secrets of its campaign of airstrikes, primarily inside Syria, against Iranian allied militias and weapons shipments. But now, Israeli officials openly describe a new defensive strategy, as one termed it in the Daily Beast, aimed at the head of the octopus in Iran, and not just his tentacles across the region in places like Syria, Lebanon, Gaza, and Iraq. One more paragraph here. For many years, the Iranian regime has carried out terrorism against Israel and the region via proxies. But for some reason, the head of the octopus, Iran itself, has enjoyed immunity. Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett said in a speech on Sunday, the era of immunity for the Iranian regime is over. Now, that's some very serious rhetoric. And what they're saying is their doctrine, the Octopus Doctrine, kept saying, cut off the tentacles, hit them in Syria, quadcopter their nuclear facilities, send viruses into their computers, kill their scientists, and all those kind of things. And now what they're saying is, no, we're going to chop off the head of the octopus. That's a very different strategy, and it goes along with the chariots of fire. And by the way, the chariots of fire exercise, that looks back to Elijah. Isn't that interesting? That Elijah, I believe, will be one of the two witnesses in Israel, and so he could already be in Israel right now, but I just think it's very interesting. This is an article from the Times of Israel from the United Nations, and they're saying Iran not providing credible answers on material at undeclared sites. Well, Iran's been lying to everybody forever, and so they shouldn't be surprised by that, but they have found uranium traces at 3 different facilities that weren't supposed to have uranium. And the Iranians will not give an answer for it. And so they're lying. They've got more uranium than they're saying they have. And so they've just been caught. And this is the Jerusalem Post. One more article here. Iran crossing uranium enrichment threshold cannot be avoided. Okay, this is from the International Atomic Energy Agency. Okay, it cannot be avoided. So, and they're just saying in here that, and they're downplaying it. And they're saying, Iran's going to get nuclear material, but they don't have a detonator, and they don't have it's going to take them a while to build a bomb. Well, North Korea built bombs and had nuclear capability right under our noses. They became a nuclear state under sanctions while the entire world was watching, making much more progress than the world realized. The same thing's happening in Iran right now. Let me just say, I don't know exactly when they're going to get all the material they need, but I'll tell you one group of people that does, and that's the Israelis. The Israelis have moles inside of their facilities, or nuclear facilities. They have spies all over the country. They have probably the best intelligence community in the world. And so the Israelis know exactly where Iran is. And isn't it interesting? With that knowledge, they're having a massive drill called Chariots of Fire. Not just practicing bombing Iran, but also defending their borders after they bombed Iran. Very interesting. So Iran must be making some progress in that regard. Now, so let me say this. So there's Armageddon, it's all right there. It's all unfolding before our eyes. Now, Armageddon takes place 7 years into the tribulation, at the end of the tribulation, at the second coming. So it's at least 7 years away. If Rosh Hashanah, if the battle of Gog and Magog happened right now. Now, if you have heard me teach for very long on the end times, you know that I believe that the rapture some year will happen at Rosh Hashanah. Now, Rosh Hashanah this year is from sundown September 25th through sundown September 27th. It's a 2-day feast, okay? So we don't know the day or the hour. And so there are 7 feasts of Israel that are a prophetic grid of the future. Jesus was crucified on Passover, buried on unleavened bread, resurrected during the Feast of First Fruits. Pentecost came. Last weekend was a Pentecost. That Pentecost came on the Feast of Pentecost. The next 3 feasts then are the Feast of Trumpets, the Day of Atonement, and the Feast of Tabernacles. And so I believe the Rosh Hashanah is the rapture, the Day of Atonement is the second coming, and the Tabernacles is eternity with God, us living with God for all of eternity. So we have 3 more feasts about to happen. So I believe, and what I've taught is, I believe some year that the Gog and Magog war will happen around the Feast of Trumpets, either right before or right after. Now, my personal opinion is it'll happen just prior to, because I believe it will set up the covenant that the Antichrist makes with Israel. After the Gog and Magog war, there's going to be a tremendous sympathy for Israel when God glorifies himself, when he defeats all those armies and deals with that issue. Then the Antichrist shows up as a man of false peace and makes this covenant of peace. Now, that's just my opinion. It could be at a different time. But isn't it interesting that we're 3.5 months right now from the Feast of Trumpets, when I believe some year the rapture will happen. And all these things are happening, and what the world is witnessing is, we're right there. Related to Israel and Iran, we're right there. Israel cannot let Iran get a nuclear weapon. It's not going to happen. They have the resolve and they have the capacity to bomb Iran and stop it. And so this is all happening right before our nose. And my opinion is, and this is what I wrote in my book, Tipping Point, I wrote it 2 years ago, is my opinion is when Israel bombs Iran, which could be in the next few days or few weeks, when Israel bombs Iran, it will provoke the Ezekiel 38 and 39 war, which I believe is a sign that the rapture is about to happen. We're in that period of time. And when I make these kinds of statements, I'm not setting a date that I'm saying absolutely Jesus is coming this September. But I've never seen in my lifetime the events that we have going on in the world right now. And in my heart, I pray that this is the year that Jesus will return. And all the signs of the times are there. And I'm just reading the signs of the times. And so I hope that this has been a blessing to you today. If you're watching on YouTube, I just want to say thank you for joining me. I hope you'll become a subscriber to endtimes.com. We have articles and videos that come out all week long. This week we talked about China's growing footprint in the world. China's a very troubling nation in the world right now. We talked about Iran's nuclear weapons, famines in Africa. We also had an article from Dr. Mark Hitchcock on the numbers in Revelation. Are they symbolic or are they literal or are they a combination of the two? I wrote an article about going through the storms of life, how Jesus taught us how to go through the storms of life. We also had a video that was released today by Dr. Mark Hitchcock that was talking about the World Forum that was just held in Davos, that they're talking about tracking us and tracking our carbon footprint because they're talking about global warming. And he did an article, a video, talking about how that could be used by the Antichrist to ultimately control us. And so we have all kinds of articles and videos, plus we have the full Tipping Point show that only our subscribers get. I want you to become a subscriber to endtimes.com, $7 a month, $77 a year. You get the full Tipping Point show. I'm about to answer questions. In the rest of this podcast, I'm going to answer questions, lots of questions from our subscribers. And want you to be a part of that. But subscribe, $7 a month, $77 a year. We'd love to have you be a subscriber to endtimes.com. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure and subscribe to this channel so you know every time we have something that comes out. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Goodbye. I want to thank you for watching this tipping point clip, and I want you to subscribe to the channel. I want you, if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and click subscribe there. And thank you for watching and subscribing. I want you to join our tipping point community at endtimes.com. For $7 a month, you can subscribe, and you have a 7-day free trial. So if you just want to check it out for 7 days, go on endtimes.com, check us out for 7 days, but I can promise you, you're going to love the content. You're going to be getting the Tipping Point show, the full show, every single week, as well as articles and video content from great teachers like Greg Laurie and Mark Hitchcock, and of course myself. Be sure to subscribe to be notified when we release more videos like this. God bless you.